Hey guys, welcome back to another CreditVerse video. My name is Aalyan and today I'm going to be showing you how to further climb the credit card ladder. If you already haven't watched part 1, be sure to do that before starting on this, as there's a lot of things that you may miss. Diving right into level 5, which is the last level where the cards are available to us mere mortals. There's a couple of characteristics that all these cards really share. First, they're almost all travel cards. We're sorry to those who love cashback cards, but level number 4 was really the end of the line. Banks feel that all their premium clientele, who would really get some of these premium credit cards, tend to travel quite a bit, whether it's for work or for leisure, so they do tailor a lot of the perks and benefits towards those who travel. All the perks that come on those core tier cards in level 4 just get a bit of a level up here. Instead of 4 lounge credits, you're going to get 6 or 8, and instead of a $50 Nexus credit, you might get a $100 Nexus credit. Now, some cards push this a little bit further. The Platinum card, for example, gives you a $200 annual travel credit, a full Nexus credit, as well as unlimited lounge entries and priority security lane access, which also does come on the Visa Infinite Privilege cards. Co-branded cards also see an equivalent step forward here. The only premium co-branded cards in Canada are the Aeroplan ones, and they get unlimited Maple Leaf lounge access, fast track security, priority boarding, priority baggage, priority check-in, just a lot of features that make traveling on Air Canada a little bit easier. Upon spending $25,000 on those cards, you also get an annual companion voucher, which you can use to save a few $100s when you take someone with you on a flight. The second thing that all these cards share are massive welcome bonuses. Now, it's not uncommon to see a bonus worth over $2,000, with the 100,000 points or equivalent getting you to Europe and back in business class. With that though, there are some higher minimum spends. Sometimes you may need to spend upwards of $10,000 in about 3 months, which can make it tricky for students or people who are just really starting out to really hit that very easily. The higher welcome bonuses also do come with exponentially higher annual fees though. As these cards are geared towards more affluent individuals, $400 is the lowest you're really going to see, with some cards reaching even $700, making you really pay for the additional perks you receive. The final characteristic here is that these cards go from $100 pieces of plastic to several $100 pieces of metal. Now, of course, this is an incredibly surface level characteristic. There's no really tangible benefit here. I guess the only thing you can really say is that they don't wear as easily as the recycled plastic cards we've become accustomed to, but there's also a slight downside here of the cards being pretty thick and you have to really know where you're putting it in. I don't know if this is just a me problem, but I've gotten them stuck in parking meters on more than one occasion, and so if the terminal I'm using looks over 30 years old, I just use a different card just to be safe. Now, what does it take to get your hands on one of these cards, and are they really worth the 3 to 5 time premium we see over the core tier cards in level 4? Now, even though anyone can get these cards, it's a little harder to get some of those non-Amexes. The reason being that the minimum income requirement here is $150,000 of personal income or $200,000 of household income. As we've spoken about previously, American Express cards don't actually have minimum income requirements, which makes them a lot easier for students or people who are just starting out to get. Now, you're also going to need excellent credit for one of these cards. Again, there's no exact number here, but something like a 720 should probably be fine, and if you play your cards right, you should be able to get there within about a year of just starting, as long as you're being responsible. Are the cards actually worth the extra money? Well, it depends. I'd say about 80% of the features are present on the core tier cards, so you're really only paying for the additional lounge entries, maybe a little bit better insurance, and maybe fast track security. The first thing you need to really consider is how much do you travel? To demonstrate how this makes a difference, let's take a look at the American Express Aeroplan card and the American Express Aeroplan Reserve card. The core variant of this card is probably one of the best value props in Canada. For $120, you get preferred pricing, a free bag on Air Canada flights, and insurance on all your award bookings. Now, the Aeroplan Reserve builds on this a little bit further. For $599, you get priority security, priority baggage, and priority boarding, as well as access to Maple Leaf lounges. Now, if you take only 4 flights a year, is the additional lounge access and priority security really worth it? Because there's a $480 premium, and divided by 4, you pay $120 per flight for the benefits. If you travel quite a bit for work, or maybe you take a trip every couple of months, specifically with Air Canada, and maybe you take something like 20 flights a year, you take that same benefit, $480 price delta, and then divided by the 20 flights you take to come at a much more stomachable $24 per flight. I'm pretty comfortable paying $25 to make sure that I get into a lounge and I get to board first so I can put my carry-on, but also it's really different for pretty much everybody. There's really no correct answer here, you just have to see what you value the perks. In my own experience, while the lounge access is certainly a difference maker, there's a lot of other cards that can get that for a much cheaper price. What really makes me pay the annual fee over and over again is the fact that there's a lot of little quality of life features which make holding the card just a little bit better. Now, for example, when you pick up the phone and dial the number on the back, in a premium card, you're just going to be able to get access to a real person right away, as opposed to having to wait in line or going through an AI chatbot thing. I don't really enjoy that, and I think it takes like 15 or 20 minutes every time. I have to call the bank quite a bit for a lot of random things, and just makes it a little bit nicer. The next thing is the little appreciation boxes you get sometimes. American Express sends you like a box which has like mugs and like paperweight or whatever the case may be. It's just the real little things that make you feel a little bit more appreciated. The TLDR here though is usually not, unless you travel a lot. That's really what it comes down to. I'm sure this section is what most of you have been waiting for. A glimpse at the summit of the credit card hierarchy. This level is reserved exclusively for invite-only black cards. First, we're going to touch on the lower echelon of these cards, if you could really even call it that, which are cards made for private banking clients at Canada's 5 biggest banks. Now, to gain access to these cards, you're going to have to first become a client, which generally requires you to have anywhere from $1.5 to $3 million in investable assets, or potentially a very large mortgage or huge accounts with that bank. The Avion Visa Infinite Privilege for private banking is RBC's addition to this private banking landscape. Now, this card is effectively just the Visa Infinite Privilege with a slightly different paint job. It doesn't have any additional benefits. You do get that party security and those lounge passes, and you can redeem business class flights at 2 cents per point using Avion points, but there's nothing super special here. HSBC is the other bank with a dedicated card just for private banking clients called the HSBC Metal MasterCard. It's the first truly premium MasterCard available in Canada, and hopefully over time we're going to see some more come into that level 5 tier, but as of right now, it has no annual fee and a $200 annual travel credit. It's also the only card in Canada to get unlimited lounge visits through the Dragon Pass program, which I feel like should just be a prerequisite for any card at this level. HSBC also takes advantage of its global reach by offering no Forex fees on this card. The next entry here is the newest by far, and it's the American Express Air Canada card. It's really easy to confuse this with the American Express Aeroplan Reserve card, but they're completely on different levels. For starters, the card has a $2,500 annual fee. This isn't completely unheard of for cards at this level, but what is a little bit more unheard of is the $150,000 annual spending requirement just to keep hold of the card every single year. Luckily though, for that annual fee, you do get some pretty interesting perks, and Air Canada really didn't leave any stone unturned. For starters, you get Aeroplan 50K status for yourself and any supplementary cardholders, which is equivalent to Star Alliance Gold and can get you some nice perks when you're flying with any Star Alliance carrier. You can roll over 200,000 status qualifying miles every year, making it easier to qualify for status next year as well. If you're having trouble qualifying for status with those segments, for every $5,000 you spend on the card, you get 1 status qualifying segment and 1,000 status qualifying miles. Holding this card also puts you in priority for upgrades, so if someone has the same status as you, but they don't have one of these cards, you're just going to be able to leapfrog them. This pretty much means you're going to be leapfrogging anybody ever, because there's only like 100 or 150 of these cards. It also comes with all the priority features that you see on the American Express Aeroplan Reserve card. This is where the really special perks start though. You get access to the Air Canada Concierge service, which has the chauffeur service that can drive you across the tarmac directly to your plane, go up, sit in your first class seat. The next perk here is definitely my favorite one though. It's access to the Air Canada Signature Suite in both Vancouver and Toronto. Usually this is only reserved for those flying signature class on a full flare ticket or a business flexible award ticket. It doesn't really matter what status you have, even if you have 4 million miles with Air Canada, Star Alliance Gold or Diamond or whatever the case may be, you can't get in unless you're flying in signature class. The lounges are really a step above the regular Maple Leaf lounges we see. I think they take a little bit from the Air Canada cafes with just a bit of a leg up. You get access to some really gourmet food, there's some pretty unique styling, and it's just a nice experience all around. The non-Air Canada perks are that you get a priority pass membership for yourself and one other person. You really only get this on the American Express Platinum card, and that's probably where they got it from. There's also a $200 Nexus credit. Don't ask, I guess if you need to renew your Nexus every 4 years, you can use this card. Finally, you also get access to the American Express Concierge, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. How could we talk about invite-only black cards without mentioning the quintessential black card, the American Express Centurion card? With countless song lyrics, pop culture references, and urban legends surrounding this card, it's pretty easy to say that it's by far the most popular and recognizable card in the entire world. As with the American Express Air Canada card, getting this card is no easy feat. It doesn't really matter if you have a great credit score, great income. There's a lot of other things that truly make the difference here. You need to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on your other Amex charge cards. We don't know the exact amount, but it's estimated to be from $250,000 to $500,000 every single year. On top of that, you need to have a long-standing relationship with American Express in almost every case. Now, while the vast majority of perks like lounge access and hotel status are also seen on other cards like the Platinum card, which you and I can actually get, there's some perks that are just not available on anything else. For starters, you get complimentary upgrades on flights booked through the International Airline Program for American Express, which can save you thousands of dollars in a round trip. Other perks also include that American Express concierge service, which can cater to your every need. You also get this special section at Centurion lounges, so you never really need to wait in line. You can just go there, get food delivered to you directly and stuff, and no one else can really come there unless you have a Centurion card. The American variant of this card has a lot of additional perks that are actually able to be confirmed. We don't really have those in Canada, unfortunately, but if you have one of these cards and we've missed out on some of the perks, be sure to let us know in the comments. Also, if you thought the Air Canada card was expensive, this really blows it out of the water. You have to pay a $10,000 initiation fee just to get the card, and then $5,000 starting in the first year to keep the card every single year. That means your first year expense just to keep the card is $15,000, which begs the question, are these invite-only black cards really worth it? In the conventional sense, likely not. Most of the level 5 cards come with the vast majority of these perks, yet you don't get the concierge service and whatnot, but for someone who spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on a credit card every year, I don't think they actually care that much. I don't know if the $200 Nexus credit or a flight upgrade or a better lounge really makes that big of a difference. This really just shows that the cards are more status symbols more than anything else. They're a way for banks to show appreciation to some of their most loyal customers, and those customers like being appreciated, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that at all. With that, I hope this has been a really helpful guide on how to climb the credit card ladder and travel the world for free in immense luxury. If you guys enjoyed, please give the video a like, and if you want more content like this in the future, be sure to subscribe. With that, we'll see you next week.